Now we are going to see about Nest.js building components like images, fonts, scripts, metadata like that. So now we see images. So we can also use our normal images, but Nest.js provides a image component which have some additional functionality for our image. So we need to import the image from nest/image. So now we can use our image like normal image tag. So it has a source and alt text. So for the source I have a public folder, some image, and in the source I have some asset. So first let us try to import the asset. So import next image from assets slash varc.svg. So now we use the nest image. So when we import like this, the static import, we don't need to specify width and height. So the width and height are automatic. So let us see this. So now we see our image rendered successfully. So how to use images in public folder means, then we need to use slash and our image. So I use next.svg, next.svg. But in public folder we need to use width and height. So I just give width 300 and height 300. Now we can see our image nest.js. So how to use remote images? So first we get a remote URL. I go to Pixel, which is a images website we can use. So I copy image address. Now we paste the address here. So to use remote image we need to configure some nest config. So go to nest.config.js, and inside that we need to do some configuration, that is images, which is a object, and remote patterns, and we need to pass array like a object. So first the protocol, which is HTTPS, and the next one is host name. So we are using the host images.pixel.com. So I just copy and use here. So now our remote image configuration is completed. We need to use width and height for remote images. So now let us see our image. I just refresh. So I just save and refresh. Now we can see our image here. So when I see the image URL in Tensor, you can see some random URLs, and if you give the proper image means, then you can see many source set. So what these source set means, these source set will be used for responsive images. If you give small image means, then this source set will not be generated. If you give the correct sized image, then these source sets are automatically generated by Nest.js. So that's why we are using image component, but the URL is different. So how we can change our URL means, we need to use a loader function. So for loader function we need to use client, and we need to create a component, sorry, not component, we need to create a function, image loader, which will have source, width and quality. then we need to return our source itself. So we can modify what our URL string by the return statement. So I just return the source. We can also change like this, source and then width equal to our width and quality equal to our quality, or we can, if not quality is not available, or we can use like this. So we need to use this under the component, and we need to pass the loader function as loader and image loader. So now you can see our image URLs, and our image URL is what we have pasted in this area. So now the problem is solved. But when we are not using the remote URL, when we are going to use our public folder image, means we can directly use the same thing, right? We can return the source itself, or we can also return the source with like this. So it will not suffer, right? You can see the URL is common. Or we can also return our domain name itself, localhost 3000, like this. So it will also okay. But when we import our static image, then there is something different. So I just show to you next image. So I just console out the image, console out the source. So now you can see still our URL will be different, and you can see in the console log, I just refresh, and you can see in the console log the URL is this only. So we can't change anything. So we can return our source directly, or we can do like this. We can also do HTTP. We can also put our domain here, so it will not do anything. So our imported asset will look like this. So our imported asset will look like this only. So this loader function will be helpful when we have external URLs. So this is one type of loader, and another one is we can directly configure our loader inside nest config. So we need to create each time a loader function for image, but when we create a loader.js file under our root folder, and in nest config we need to configure something like under images we need to use loader, and we need to use custom, and loader file we need to use loader.js. And inside the loader we just use the same use client, and we can use the same thing inside the loader. And what else we can have in image means we have a prop called priority. What this priority means, it will be helpful for largest contentful paint. So when we use priority for a particular image, that image will be loaded first, and for that particular image lazy loading will be off and prefetch will be happen, because when we have a image that is above the fold means then that image should be loaded fastly. If you have a bigger image above the fold, then if you use priority, then that image will be loaded fastly. So that is priority. And we have unoptimized prop. So by default it is false. So when we use this, our original image will be used, that is our source will be directly used without changing any quality or size or any format, because Nest.js will change our image quality according to network speed and sizes of our browser. But when we use unoptimized, it will use direct image to the user. And we have another thing, that is placeholder. So this placeholder have three values, that is empty. By default it is empty, so it will show a empty blank space in the placeholder. And another one is blur. So when we use blur, then there will be a blur image for the placeholder. For static import, the blur data URL will be automatically populated. So what is blur data URL means? We need to pass another thing, that is blur data URL. This will be used as placeholder for the blur image. This will be the blur image that will be used as placeholder for this image. But when we use blur for the static import like this, then the blur data URL will be automatically populated. So we don't need to use this. But when we use external images, then we need to pass our blur data URL, and we need to pass the placeholder image. So blur data URL, we need to use the blur image. So that should be 10 pixel minimum image and size. Then only our image, that minimum image only expanded and should look like a blur image. So for external image, we need to use blur and blur data URL, and inside this we need to use minimum size image like 10 pixel image. For static input, we just use placeholder blur only, don't need to use blur data URL. And we can also, another thing, we have data URL, that is data to an image slash something will come. So this, when we use this type of placeholder, then this image will be directly used as placeholder. So these are the three ways we can use placeholder in image component. Also other things are available in image component like fill and sizes or other things that you can refer in the documentation of the image component. So image component have some other props like fill and other things, so you can refer in the documentation. That's all about image component.